right, I'm just kidding with that rain stuff, guys. I was just trying to find something not copyrighted at the last second. That was all we had. Welcome, everybody. We are super, super pumped. I know a lot of you guys were, there was like tornadoes and stuff going around. So there's a bunch of people who are like, oh, I don't know if I'll have power. So hopefully you guys all made it here for this event. We are going to have a ton of fun. Let me know in the comments that you can see me, that you can hear me. I'm on time, kept chime. Awesome. Yeah, so let me know if you can see me and hear me and all of that great stuff. We are going to be doing some fantastic stuff tonight. So first, we're gonna bring in Larry Libarski. He is, I mean, the guru of gurus in the wholesale space. I know, I mean, people ask about like, Nate, what's like the best course in this area? What's the best course for that? If you're looking for wholesale stuff, Larry is the guy. I have the privilege of being a fairly, um, I would say, successful content creator, and so I can sort of pick and choose what I want to talk about. So I don't have to talk about things if I don't think that they're good. So there are other wholesale things out there that would pay me a lot more money, but I think they're crap, so I don't talk about them, and I tell people not to get it. Larry, though, is a real deal. I mean, he's doing 8 figures a year. I think it was 13 million was the last figure I saw. So 13 million per year in sales, which is pretty insane, guys. He sells on lots of different marketplaces. And he's just an all-around freaking awesome guy. Let me see. All right, we can hear you, we can see you. Awesome. So we're gonna be talking to Larry a little bit. We're gonna be doing some Q&A. So if you guys have questions, let me post this up here. If you guys have any questions about wholesale, about finding distributors, about whatever wholesale issues you have, or if you have questions about his wholesale academy, drop them in the comment section below. That's what we are here for tonight, is mostly just for you guys, just here answering your questions. So drop those in the comment section. It'll help us too if you put like a little like hashtag question or something like that, something that pops it out a little bit from other just general chat. And then at the end of this, we will be giving away a couple pretty awesome things. So Larry is giving away 2 entry tickets to his wholesale academy. So and usually it's like $2,000 to get in. So that's like $4,000 worth of stuff. I did a giveaway a couple days ago for a couple of free Rolos. So I'll be picking a couple people for my thing for that. But you got to stay to the end. We're doing all that at the end of this call. And if you're not here, then we're just going to go to the next person. So you got to make sure you're sticking around all the way till the end of this. And yeah, let's do this. Let's bring in Larry if you guys are ready for it. All right, there he is. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
We're doing good. You know, I got kicked out of all my offices. We've got a foster baby here who took my old office. So I'm just relaxing in bed, man.
Right. The people don't know how lucky they are to get this uncensored, intimate time with you straight from the bedroom.
I like it. So Larry, can you tell us like a little bit about yourself? Sort of what was your journey coming up on Amazon? I don't know, for me, it was like, oh, I was like a broke school teacher. So people have heard my story, but probably not a lot of hustle buddies have necessarily heard your story. So where did you sort of come from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, it's funny. Most successful Amazon sellers that I think we both know all started out roughly the same way, in a sense where everyone kind of starts out broke, down and out, not doing well. And I mean, that's kind of where my journey began. To give you a little background information on myself, again, for everyone here, my name is Larry Libarski. I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, first generation. And my parents were first generation immigrants. I was first generation born here, moved here from the USSR. Obviously, that in itself was a struggle, but grew up, very modestly, kind of broke, welfare, food stamps, all that kind of in the trenches type of stuff. Dad passed away when I was really young. I am a high school dropout. So that just goes to show you, you don't need to be a rocket scientist or super educated in order to do Amazon. Obviously, you need a little bit of a brain in your head. Some street smarts really helps. Some business acumen, that kind of stuff really helps. But when I dropped out of high school, I dropped out to be a stockbroker and kind of went the way of Boiler Room, Wolf of Wall Street type stuff. Was doing that for about a decade. Not nearly as glorious or successful as Leo DiCaprio was. I mean, I had a couple of good years, but for the most part, I was just spinning my wheels. Wasn't really successful, but did that, like I said, for like a decade. And the last couple of years of that, I was in an office job that I hated. I literally would wake up in the morning. I would dread to come to work. And I think that's like the biggest red flag when you do something that you don't love, that you don't have a passion for, that you dread showing up and putting in the work. That's just when you know, again, big red flag, not the right thing for you, very difficult to find success. And one of the things that I found looking back at my journey being a stockbroker was, I was unsuccessful, wasn't making a lot of money, accumulating debt, had months and years where I was pretty much making zero. But it was, I don't know if it was a pride thing or an ego thing. It was just very difficult for me to admit failure, to admit this is it. I gotta, find something else to do. I gotta give up. I gotta quit. And just kind of for a couple of years there at the end, I was spinning my wheels and just waiting, I guess, to hit rock bottom before I was able to make that change. And that rock bottom eventually came. At 30 or 31 years of age, I had to, with my tail between my legs, move back in at home with my mom. Not a pot to piss in, not a dollar to my name, accumulated a lot of debt. And the way that I came into Amazon, it was either just dumb luck or divine intervention. I remember I was looking for just a regular job at the time, just something to, a couple of $100 a week, just like to make ends meet, to keep the cell phone on, to keep food on the table, that kind of stuff. And I remember I was going into local pizzerias, asking them if they need, delivery driver or something like that, which was a really rude awakening for someone who had these grand visions and dreams of I'm going to be this super successful stockbroker and, be a millionaire, but whatever, I was willing to do whatever I needed to do. My friend at the time had an online business. So he had a brick and mortar business. He had an optical store. And what he was doing at the time, he was an eBay seller. So he asked me to come work for him, to do some customer service for his own website and his optical store. And at the same time, he offered me like a side gig to basically create listings for the eyeglass inventory and the sunglass inventory that he had in his brick and mortar store. And that's how I got into e-commerce. I was just creating eBay listings. And, a lot of people don't know that, but that's where I got my start, was in eBay. And I got really good at it. I got really proficient at it. We built a fairly successful business. I don't really recall if it was like a 6-figure business or not, but, it was successful. It was at least high figures. We did really well. We were moving some inventory. And at the same time, my friend who I was working for, who had the optical business, he started selling on Amazon in the US. So he had an optical. He also owned the brick and mortar beauty salon. And what they were doing was they were taking inventory from the salon, inventory from the optical, and they were doing what I didn't know at the time was the wholesale business model. They were getting these suppliers and distributors through those brick and mortar connections that they had, and they were listing that stuff and building it on Amazon, and it, took off. They had a warehouse, they had staff. It quickly became my buddy's main focus. And at one time he came to me and he said, listen, we have an opportunity to do Amazon overseas in the UK. I can't handle it myself. I got my hands full in the US. So what I'm going to offer you, Larry, is I'm going to offer you an unpaid partnership We're going to split the profits 3 ways. There was another partner at the time. Any profits that you make a third of it. We make 2/3 of it, but we'll provide everything, but you run the whole show. You do everything yourself.
Mm.
And they taught me the basic gist of Amazon. Like, they didn't give me a full education with it, but they taught me like the gist. They said, here is the concept of how it works. We buy from suppliers, we buy low, we sell high. Here's the FBA calculator. You look at a product on this list, you look what you sell it for. Here's how you figure out what fees Amazon takes. Run this business by yourself. We'll split the profits 3 ways. Again, I was a salaried employee at the time. I was making like $500 a week at the time. This was like in 2011, 2012. And I still had my customer service regular job for him, doing the eBay thing. That was 9 to 5. But at that time, I was living at home, didn't have money to do anything, didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have a life. So I would spend every night and every weekend working on this Amazon FBA opportunity that he so graciously and kindly gave me. And I think like in a matter of 6 to 7 months, we were able to turn this into a definitely that first year, a 7-figure business. And just my 33% cut of the profits in the first like 6 to 12 months of doing business, it went from, I was making $500 a week being a salaried employee, doing customer service and eBay from 9 to 5 from him. And then like 6 to 12 months in, my cut of the profits was like 10, 15, 20,000. It just kept coming up. And then at one point I left the job behind. I started focusing on that full time. And without being too long-winded, that's how I got my start in the Amazon game and have been doing it ever since. I was passionate. I loved it. I still remember, my very first weeks. And again, I was a one-man show. I was doing all the research. I was managing the Amazon accounts. I was prepping the stuff myself. And I remember like my very first weeks of doing Amazon FBA, it was a weekend. I was in the office. It was probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. This was when HBO Go came out. I think it was like HBO Plus at the time. And I remember I just had a computer. I was watching some shows and I was just sitting there and labeling goods, day in, day out. And, eventually the business took off, and it's been an amazing, amazing road ever since, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we all sort of like get bit at a different time. So like going from $500 a week to 10 grand or 20 grand, it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
Yes,
now
sir.
I understand. I see the light.
Sir. Yes. And one of my absolute favorite things about Amazon as compared to any other business is you see the fruits of your labor from Amazon so quickly. Like almost any business that you want to start, or if you're like an investor and you want to invest in a business, and whether it's opening up a store or a restaurant, like people will tell you, investors or people who start businesses will tell you, if you can forget about a profit, if you can just break even and make your money back in 2 years, 3 years, that's a hit. That's phenomenal. You invest all this money, you open up a restaurant, 2 years, 3 years, you break even. That's great. People love that. But for Amazon, forget about break even. You can literally turn a profit month 1, month 2, month 3.
Yeah, it's wild.
You're not going to be making millions. You're not going to get rich, but you see the fruits of your labor. And it's so awesome that the harder you work, that month, you will literally begin to see the fruits of your labor, 30, 60, 90 days down the road. And that provides so much motivation and so much, inspiration to just keep going and to keep building. And I want to just preface all of that by saying, despite how nice that all sounded, I don't want people to get me wrong. This business is not super easy. It's not complicated, but it's not easy. It's hard. It's not for everyone. I've, went through the gamut of all different Amazon things, from being suspended to just anything you can possibly think of. So it has been a long road. It's not without its challenges. Very hard. Not for everyone. I know that's not going to help us sell a lot of courses here today, but that's kind of one of the things that I do. Like when I'm on like these chats, or when I'm promoting the Wholesale Academy once or twice a year, is not just say, hey, everyone who does this is going to be super successful, but we actually want to turn people away. We don't want people to spend $2,000 to get into the business who aren't cut out for Amazon full time, or who aren't cut out to do wholesale, or who aren't, cut out to own a brick and mortar, or to like open up a restaurant, using that example again, or something like that. So it's not for everyone, but for those of you watching who decide that this is what they want to do with their lives, full time or close to full time, that they want to eat, sleep, and shit this business, then it's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. I know there are a lot of people in your fantastic group that do the side hustle and want to work 1 or 2 days a week, and totally fine. Not everyone wants to do Amazon 5, 6, 7 days a week, and that's totally fine. It's not for everyone. And that's not to say that you can't do wholesale, semi part-time or a couple days a week. I know there are definitely examples of people who have done that and who do that successfully, but this is a business that you get into once you've made the decision that this selling on Amazon is what I want to do with my life for the next minimum 5-10 years to come. If you know that's what you want to do, I can almost assure you, probably with a 90+% success rate, if you listen to my advice and take my support and take our guidance, if you have that long-term 5-year plan, you're going to be successful, no doubt about it. But the main takeaway that I want people to have is you have to determine if this business is right for you and if this is something that you want to do with your life. That's like the most important thing. Not knowing how to find suppliers, not knowing how to source products, is just being honest with yourself and determining, do I want to sell on Amazon full time? Is this how I want to make my number one source of income, my living? Is this where I want to be 5 years down the road? And if you want to do that, if your answer to that is yes, amazing opportunity. If your answer to that is, I'd like more of a side hustle, I want to do the weekend thing, totally fine. There are people who make a lot of money, OA, RA, all that kind of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's phenomenal too.
Yeah, you really nailed it. Like, it's selling on Amazon, no matter if it's arbitrage, wholesale, private label, whatever it is, like, it's very hard, but it's so simple. It's a very solved business. It's kind of wild how solved it is. Like, I talked to the people like I went to college with who have no idea anything about Amazon, and they're always like, oh, like, it takes so much luck to be successful. Like, oh, you just got really lucky. Like, no, there's zero luck. It's just numbers. Does 2 + 2 = 4? Yes. Is 10% profit, 10% profit? Yes. Should I sell it? Yeah. Like, it's so solved. So it's hard work. You got to put in the grind. And I think there's people sort of in the middle ground. I would even say, I'm almost going to slightly disagree that there are some people in the middle ground where, like for us, for example, I was willing to put in the work to really grind it. I mean, I don't mind working 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week if there's a certain time frame. So I can build something out so that I can more coast. And I think there's ways to sort of set your business up, even with wholesale, where you can put a lot of work here at the beginning and then sort of build your systems out, hire people to do decision making for you.
No, and I agree with that. And right now, I have 10 employees, I have multiple warehouses, but today I didn't go into the office, for example. So it's not necessarily that, you have to work full time and you're going to be working for the next, 5 years, 12 hours a day. But even if you have the business and the system built and you have employees and you yourself are personally not doing the daily grind, it's still, in my book, you are still someone who's taking Amazon very seriously and someone who is doing it full time, even if you yourself are not going in there and owning running the
100%.
business full time.
Oh yeah.
If you own a restaurant and you have a manager and a chef and everyone doing all of that stuff, and you're coming into the place maybe once or twice a week just to make sure that everything is up to par, you're still a full-time restaurateur, in my opinion, even if you're not in there bussing the tables 5-7 days a week. So it's not. And I agree with you. Again, I might have scared some people away. I know personally tons of people who do wholesale part-time and all of that, but it's almost not the actual hours. It's more of the mindset. You just have to be committed that this is something that you want to do with your life. And of course, in the beginning, like I said in that example, when I started out, I was in a little warehouse. I was doing everything myself, including the packing, including the labeling. Now I probably haven't labeled a product and going on, many, many years at this point. But it's just having that mentality that this is something that you want to do very seriously. Wholesale is a serious business. And it's just having that mindset and treating it as such. It's just going to it's just going to assure and ensure that you're going to be successful and raise the odds of that happening when you look at it that way. Are there people that can coast through it? For sure. Are there people that can half-ass it and still have results? For sure. Are there people that can do it 2-3 days a week? For sure. But if you want to raise your odds of success, you just have to have the desire that you want to take it seriously. And I know from a course selling standpoint, there's enough people out there that want to take it seriously. Those are the kind of people that we look for in the Wholesale Academy, only because I think those are the kind of people that have the best chances, the biggest odds for success. And I want to tell everyone, you mentioned that it's a numbers game. It in fact is. And that's kind of like the old adage of wholesale. It's a numbers game. You have to have numbers of suppliers, numbers of this, numbers of that. But the number one time factor in any Amazon business is not number of leads or numbers of suppliers. It's literally the number of time on a calendar. And what I mean by that is, if you put in 1 to 2 years minimum, it's almost impossible that you're not going to be successful, regardless the business model you choose, private label, regardless what it is. And I was one of the things I say all the time. You meet obviously lots of people who've tried selling on Amazon and who maybe weren't successful, and they give up, they don't do it anymore, they don't like the business. But the one thing that these people all have in common, they probably quit anywhere from 3 to 6 months into the business. You will be hard pressed to find an Amazon seller who tells you, Nate, I have been doing this for 24 months and I'm not successful. It's almost impossible. So the one secret to
the people who do say that haven't actually been doing it for 24 months. Like they tried it 24 months ago and they never touched it again.
It's like the one secret to the business. If you do this for 2 years and you commit to not give up and commit to always learn and try new stuff and work hard, it's almost impossible to not be successful. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to be diving in to a bunch of your questions here. We've got a ton of questions so far. This is awesome, guys. Keep them coming. We're going to answer as much as we can. I don't want to keep Larry here all night, and we both got kids, but we're going to try to help you guys as much as we can. We'll be doing the giveaways here at the end, so stick around until the end of this chat. But yeah, so let me start this off before I read the questions. There's just a couple questions I always see, so let me get those right out of the way right at the beginning. All right. So first, super common question that everybody seems to ask, Larry, how much would you advise someone to start? Like if they're thinking like, I kind of want to get into wholesale, how much money is like a decent amount to start with? Because I know like with arbitrage, I can tell someone, yeah, you could start with $100. That's not really a big issue. You'll need to spend a little bit more time, but you can start with $100. For wholesale, what should they like expect going into it?
So I would say 3 to 5K at a minimum to start out, just to dabble. And obviously to take it more seriously, you're going to need more capital. But I want to put a little disclaimer on that. You don't need 10, 20, 30, 50,000 to start until you have those products to buy first. It's not like you need 50 grand to start, but you have no product, so you have nothing to spend the money on. But realistically, wholesale is a volume business. It's all about doing a lot of sales, doing a lot of volume. So it is capital intensive. You are going to need a capital, but you're going to need it when you have actual good, profitable products to buy in front of you. But again, to answer that question, 3 to 5K to start. Ton of people probably on this chat, know people who have started with less. I know people who have started with 500, with 1,000, totally doable. That's just kind of like the generic answer that I like to give out, 3 to 5K. And of course, to do it more seriously, the more the merrier is the right answer. But if you're coming into it with 3K in the beginning, you do that. And you don't need more money initially because there's a lot of work that needs to go in first to have something to spend the money on, which is one of the pros of wholesale.
Yep. Yeah. You're buying stuff in bulk, guys. It's different from arbitrage. Like I can go to Walmart and I can pick up one candy bar and one toothbrush and I can test one single unit. Wholesale is a little bit different because you're buying it in bulk. You're buying it from the company. You're getting a pallet or ton of boxes.
And just to touch on what you said, in wholesale, we also test everything, or at least the way I do wholesale. So even if you find the product, it limits the risk. Even if you find the product that you really, really love, a product that you think, for example, is going to sell 500 units a month, I still 98% of the time, every single time that we buy a product, we do a test buy. It might not be one unit. It's, typically anywhere from 24 to 36 units, but there's a strategy behind that. Everything that we buy is a test buy. And whether it's $3,000 or $30,000, we don't take it and put all our eggs in one basket. It's all spread out. It's all a numbers game. So, again, it's not 100% success rate for everybody, but the chances, the risk that you're actually going to lose money or something like that in wholesale is very, very rare.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I always tell people, do test buys. Test buys will tell you everything you need to know. You can look at all the data in the world, but nothing will tell you as much as your test buy will tell you.
Yes, sir. That's what I always say. And people ask me, what do you think about the Jungle Scout and the estimates and this and that? All of those things are kind of just a guide. So even when you look at a product on Jungle Scout and it has that estimate, I don't put any faith into those estimates as an exact figure. The only reason that I look at some of those estimates is just to give an idea. Does it, categorically, does this product sell well, really well, just okay, or not at all? Those are my four categories. So if I see 3,000 units per month, if I see 3,000 units per month on Jungle Scout, to me, that just means this product probably sells very well. Could be 3,000, could be 30,000, could be 500. I don't know. But what you do know, when you send in those 24 units on a test buy and you sell 24 of them in 2 days, now you have some real data of how much sales you're actually doing. And then you can make the bigger purchases on top of that.
I love it. All right. I think the next biggest question that I always see, I'm trying to get a couple of the big ones out of the way. Suppliers, like how would a beginner, and it's going to be different for you, like you're selling millions a month, so like suppliers are probably calling you and you can open the door easier. For someone who's starting with like $3,000 and they've never sold wholesale before, how do you go about finding a distributor who will work with you? How do you go about finding products that are profitable along with a distributor that'll work with you and all of that?
Well, the process is much the same way. Like even right now, when we prospect for new distributors or when we call a new distributor, the process is kind of simple and straightforward. It's, hey, we found your website online. We're interested in opening a wholesale account. Please let me know what you need for me to get started. Please send me a new account application. Please send me your catalogs. Really simple kind of stuff. It's not, hey, I'm Larry Labarsky and I sell, 15 million a year on Amazon. It's very, very rarely that scenario, but there is a system in place and certain things and clues that we look for when looking for particular suppliers. And it is a numbers game. Even with 8-figure business, I'll call 100 suppliers. 75% of them might tell me to go, piss off, for lack of a better term, or won't want to open an account with me. And that's fine. But it's about, doing it in a certain way, looking for certain things before contacting suppliers, kind of qualifying those leads, making sure we're not wasting our time calling these suppliers. And then it's honestly just, you're going to find 100 good qualified suppliers. You're going to try to open accounts with them. You're going to have a success rate. That success rate of actually opening an account could be as high as 25%, could be as low as 7 or 8%. But, you'll have 100 leads. You're going to get on the low end 7, 8, 9 accounts. You're going to get catalogs and price lists from these accounts. Then you have to put in the legwork of going through thousands and thousands of products. Similar type of numbers when going through those products. You might get a catalog with 20,000 items. There might be only 4 products to buy from that supplier. Another supplier might have 24 products to buy. But when you buy a product, you're getting a replenishable product, a product that is selling multiple units every month, preferably every day. And it's something that you can send it in. It's selling. As it's selling through, you can reorder it and keep reordering it and keep reordering it. And imagine an OA or a RA product that you can literally just have in stock at Amazon 365 days out of the year. That's the best thing about it. And like in the example that I said, so everyone starts with zero listings in your Amazon store, but You get those 3 from that one supplier. Now you have 3 listings. You get another 5 from another supplier. You get 1 more from another supplier, another 12 from another supplier, and you keep building this catalog. And the point of the business is going from having 5 replenishable listings on Amazon to 10 to 15 to 30 to 50 to 100. And the name of the game is build that storefront up to as many listings live on Amazon as possible. And, of course, there's nuance. So you'll have, Amazon will come on a listing. If you have 20 SKUs in your catalog, you're going to lose some of them. That number is going to shrink. You're going to have people kill the price. You're going to have Amazon kill the listing. You're going to have a product get the listing, whatever it is. So that number of SKUs, it's always going to shrink little by little, but you're always going to add more into the mix and grow it and grow it. And the way your business grows and the way you make more money is by literally going from 10 SKUs replenishable to 20 to 30 to 50 to 100 to 500 SKUs, and just keep growing. And the sky is the limit.
Oh yeah, the numbers they compound so quickly. It's why we talk about replens all the time in Hustle Buddies, and the math just gets crazy. So like, if you guys think, people will be like, Nate, this product only makes me, I don't know, say $3. It only makes me $3, Nate. Would you still buy this? It's like, well, is it replenishable? Can you buy it over and over and over? Can you have this in stock? How many of it sells? Let's say it only sells for $3, and it's like, I don't know, 20% ROI. We'll just say some arbitrary numbers. Okay, but it sells 10 times a month. Well, that's not a $3 product. That's now a $30 per month product, or times 12. What is that? $38, $36, $360 per year. My math is running behind my mouth. And that's just one product. So it's like, okay, that took you what, an hour to find $360 a year? Okay, can you spend another hour?
But it's also the snowball effect, right? So let's say you buy $3,000 worth of products. You sell it, you make, let's say, 1,500, right? So you're at 4,400 in total. You're not going to take that 1,500 and necessarily put it into your pocket and start with $3,000 again. Now you're going to have 4,500. You're going to spend that 4,500. You're going to get back 6. You're going to spend that 6. You're going to get back 8. You're going to spend that 8. You're going to get back 11. And that snowball effect. I mean, we literally started the business with, and I know. When I started, I was lucky. I had an investor come in. I had a bunch of products already ready to go. So I started with a lot more money than most people. I started with roughly $50,000. If I had $3,000, I know for a fact I would still get to the level where I am today. Would have maybe just added a few more months or half a year or whatever to the equation. Would have got there eventually. But, from that $50,000 investment, we were able to build an 8-figure business. And, we didn't put millions of dollars more into the business. It's all snowballing. 50 turned into 70. That 70 turned into 100. That 100 turns into 150. And the name of the game, and, I said in the beginning, you see the fruits of your labor right away. You buy products today, you'll literally be making a profit on it, 2-3 weeks from now, but you keep taking everything and reinvest it back into the business as long as possible. And there's an actual video on my YouTube where I go through, all right, if you start with 10,000 at a 10% return, here's where you will be month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I do this like 24 months, just compounding it. And like 10 grand turns into deep into 6 figures if you go out 24 months, so the snowball effect of the business of just keep reinvesting everything, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. All right. So those are kind of the big general questions. I'm going to try to punch through a few of these questions for you.
Just go down the list.
Yeah.
Try to bang
I'll
out
show
as many
screen.
as we can.
All right. Here's a funny one for you, Larry. What's your least favorite category to sell and why?
People ask me category questions. I don't really have good answers for it, only because I don't really care what category it is. I care that we're making money on a product, and it really doesn't matter what category it is to me. So I don't have a favorite or a non-favorite. I know it's kind of like maybe not the answer the person was looking for, but I don't have a category. Like, I'll sell anything. And, we sell health products, beauty products. We do a lot of electronics. We do a lot of grocery. We do a lot of toys. So whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. I don't think I have a least favorite category.
Love it. All right. This is a good one. All right. When you're setting up accounts with vendors, do they typically ask you for resale certificates? And is that important to have up front?
Yes, it is. If you're doing OARA and you're starting out part-time, you don't need that. If you're doing wholesale, you definitely need a business license, resale certificate, and a legal business entity. It's one of the things that I explained. Wholesale is a little bit more of a serious business, so you definitely do need that. People tend to ask for it. Suppliers definitely need that stuff when you open an account. But part of the way that I approach when I'm opening an account, I already attach that into my email to them as well. So I'll say, like, we're looking to open an account, blah, blah, blah. And as an attachment, they'll already have my business license and, whatever paperwork that they would need, just to see that we're like a real business.
I like that. Yeah, I think, and it's important too, especially when you're looking at something like wholesale, to not necessarily focus on like the bare minimum things, like bare minimum requirements for your business, bare minimum requirements for starting capital, bare minimum requirements for like, look at how you can do it best and try to focus on that. All right, question. Does the course go step by step through creating a shipment plan to send inventory directly to Amazon from a wholesale supplier? Is that something you cover
Yes.
in the Wholesale Academy?
There is a module that covers specifically a full module dedicated to having suppliers ship directly to Amazon. I would say at this point, 80+ % of my business is suppliers that ship directly to Amazon. It's not the most common thing out there. I might have gotten lucky with that number or built really good relationships, but that's the case for me. And there is a full module that teaches that in the course, but it's kind of just very simple, straightforward. Some suppliers have experience doing that. They'll either create the plan for you, or they'll give you the box count and the dimensions, and you'll just simply, email them the labels or whatever. So it's kind of, simple and cut and dry, not very complicated. But what I will say is, if your supplier does not have experience in shipping to Amazon for you, probably don't push that, because you wouldn't want them shipping to Amazon for you
Uh,
if they don't have that experience.
Yeah, I always felt like this was like turning on the cheat codes to your business, because it's like, man, I'm talking to company A, and I'm talking to company B, and I'm telling company A to give their items to company B, and I'm getting money for it.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, look, 80, probably at this point, 80%. It was higher before. We have a little more things in house now, but I would say that's a fair number. 80% of the business is literally stuff that we don't even touch the products. I mean, we pay for them, and that's kind of like the biggest deal.
Uh,
But I mean, these things they're being paid for, and we don't touch them, and they're just arriving to Amazon, and it's all automated, and I couldn't be more thrilled about that.
I love it. All right, Larry, in your extensive experience on Amazon, what's been your biggest mistake or most memorable mistake?
Another tough question, and you might not like the answer. It might sound like a generic answer, but my biggest mistake is in the earlier years not working harder, because I'm going to say this business, it never gets easier. It always gets harder. 2 years ago, the business was definitely easier than it is right now. And 2 years from now, it's going to be harder than it is right now.
Mm,
While the getting's good, you always want to, I at least regret that, especially like when I started. It was kind of, in the early days when I started, it was kind of like the wild, wild west of Amazon FBA. There was hardly any rules, hardly any restrictions. There was virtually zero IP complaints. That wasn't even a thing that was around at the time. We were also selling in Europe. The conversion ratio of the pound to the dollar was like 100% more than it is right now. I just would have made so much more money had I worked even harder
mm.
all those years ago. So I don't know if it's a mistake, because on Amazon, you're going to make mistakes no matter what. You're going to have issues. You're going to have things go wrong. That's all part of the learning process. But I would say, 2 years from now, if you're selling, you're going to look back at this point in time and say, I should have went harder, because now 2 years in the future, things are a little more complex. It's, the getting is never as good as it is right now. It's always getting harder and harder. So strike while the iron's hot, my friends.
Yep. And I see people complain about this all the time about any type of business, but it's always like, oh, well, they're only successful because they started 10 years ago, and you can't do that now.
Correct. Correct.
Everybody says that about
Correct.
every business, especially Amazon. Every year, it's no different.
And if you start today and you're a seller in 2032, do you think you're going to be successful or no?
Like,
You know,
yeah. So a couple things for that from me is, obviously the best time to start a business was 10 years ago, but the second best time to start is today.
right
The
now,
worst time to
correct.
start is tomorrow, because tomorrow is never going to be today. So you just got to get into it. And also, if it didn't work today, how would me and Larry still have our businesses if it no longer worked today? Like we still have our Amazon businesses. We're still growing. We're still getting more products, getting more deals, getting more distributors, suppliers, all that stuff. Like if it didn't work, we wouldn't currently be doing it. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. All right, if you had to start over again, what are some things that you would do differently?
What are some things that I would do
So work
differently?
harder. I'll add that in.
Work harder. So, I can't point to specific like Amazon things. Like, for example, when I first started working for my friend at the time, and we originally had that business, he ended up screwing me over like 2 years into the business, and I had to start again from scratch after working from him, and went from making a lot of money to making zero, and then I had to start from scratch. So it was, if you have like partnerships. So right now I have a couple of partners, but be weary of partnerships, or make sure you're partnering with like the right person if you're in that situation. Obviously, work harder. I would say one big mistake, or one thing that I was doing differently, and this was only because I was taught that way. So when I first started out in the business, I was taught, don't tell anyone you sell on Amazon. Keep all your stuff close to the vest. Don't tell anyone what you do. Don't tell anyone about your products. Keep everything very hush hush, very low key. And for a couple of years there in the beginning, I didn't know that there were Facebook groups or communities of sellers or anything like that. And I literally learned so much in the 1 or 2 years after I started joining groups like yours and participating online and networking with other sellers. That's something that I would have probably done differently, is not have the mentality of, I can't tell anyone what I sell or what I do, and they don't want to talk to other sellers. Maybe that mentality was a little wrong, but there can't be like a specific Amazon thing where, oh, I wish I did this differently with listings, or I wish I did this differently with suppliers, because that stuff is going to happen no matter what. And that's just part of the process that's going to take you from beginner to success. Because even right now, if where I am in this business, and you can compare that with someone who comes into the business and today is their first day, over the next 12 months, shit's going to go wrong for me. Shit's going to go wrong for them. It's overcoming that stuff and not quitting and getting from today to the point 12 months from now. That's what's going to ensure your success. And it's not really about what could I have done differently. It's as long as you don't give up and you keep figuring stuff out and dealing with issues as they come. And Amazon is just all about dealing with issues as they come. And they're coming no matter who you are. They're coming for me. They're coming for you. They're coming for everyone on this chat. And as long as you figure that stuff out and persevere and figure it out and keep selling, you're guaranteed to get success.
Yep. Love it. Quick, I saw somebody ask about buying stuff from Alibaba. So real quick side note, buying stuff from Alibaba is not wholesale. If you're buying stuff from Alibaba and you're reselling it, now I'm putting in parentheses like reselling. You cannot resell anything from Alibaba. That will always be considered counterfeit. So we're not really going to go into that because it's not what we're doing. We're not buying from Alibaba. That would be counterfeiting. So don't do that. You can look into private label and get stuff from Alibaba a different way, but that's a whole separate process. All right, let me see a couple other questions here. Shoot, I lost my place. Oh no. Man, there's a ton of questions. I'm trying to scroll up now. There we go. All right, let me see if I can show this. There we go. All right, so the Wholesale Academy. So if you guys are here, you just joined us. This is the last day that the Wholesale Academy is going to be open. Possibly for the rest of 22. You usually only open it like once or twice a year. So this is it, guys, if you want to get into the academy. So in the Wholesale Academy, is it live stuff or is it all pre-recorded videos?
It's a combination of a lot of different things, making it the best program out there, in my opinion. So as far as videos go, there's 50 plus hours of some of the most detailed Amazon and wholesale training out there. And then you also get the live aspect of it. So there is coaching calls with me roughly every month. Sometimes we do it every month. Sometimes it's like every 6 weeks or whatever. And then there's a private Facebook group that I'm in every single day answering your questions. And then, Rob, I spend a lot of time doing one-on-one calls with students. So like the point of the course is not just the videos. The point of the course is getting access, direct access to me, and then also support. That's what you're paying for. The videos better than any videos out there, but you're paying for access and you're paying for support. And it's also a lifetime membership. So when we record new content, you get those. If there's new content recorded 2 years from now, you're not charged for those. It's all included. And at the same time, while your business grows, you may have some questions today as a beginner. In 6 months from now, when you're a little bit more advanced, and you might have some different, tricky issues or stuff that you have to handle a year or two from now. And I will help you to the best of my ability. And again, I'm not like a guru to where I'm going to say you're, guaranteed everyone's going to make $1 million. But the promise that I do make to everyone in the course is I will help you to the best of my ability to ensure that you're successful. And if you put in the time, the effort, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be.
Yep. All right. This is a good question. It's long, so I'm gonna try to summarize it. Basically, this person owns a brick and mortar salon. They're asking if they should try to integrate that brick and mortar and use that to their advantage with a wholesale business.
1,000,000%. So when you're a salon, there's a bunch of salon distributors that you can only get access to these suppliers if you have an actual brick and mortar store. Like I can call these guys up and say, hey, watch me Amazon. I do 15 mil a year. You don't have a salon, can't sell to you. So, one of the main things that I teach and that, I like to tell everyone, use what you have at your disposal to your advantage. So whether you have a brick and mortar salon, whether you have an uncle that owns a supermarket, whether your dad works for a consumer product good manufacturing, whatever it is, use all of those things to your advantage. So if you have a brick and mortar store and you have a salon and you have access to some of those high-end beauty products, it obviously makes more sense to start there than to just try to find grocery items, for example.
Yep. All right, this is a good one. How do you stay organized with all your suppliers, goods, sales profits, all that stuff, especially when you're starting out?
So one of the things that, so I have my own custom software, but one of the things that we've included with the course is 3 months free for a software called Vendrive. And it's basically a CRM that helps you keep all of your leads and suppliers in a database in one easy to use place. You get 3 months of that for free. And as far as profits, there is a tool out there called Seller Board. It's $20 a month. It tracks all of your sales, all of your profits, all of your expenses. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get paid a nickel from them, but I highly recommend the tool. Again, $20 a month. You enter all your products in there with your cost of goods. And as you go, every month I go into this tool and I enter our expenses. So our payroll, our rent, any expense that you can name, we enter that in. And this is going to tell you exactly how much you make per product, per month, and just give you a real good indication of where your business is at profit-wise. Couldn't recommend them more. Seller Board is the name of the company.
Love it. Let's see. This person is asking, do you niche or not niche your store? Like, do you sell multiple different categories and things from your single storefront?
Yep, absolutely. I would say that when you're starting out, pick a niche and just, take advantage of it, open suppliers in that niche, build some stuff up. And then as you go, you branch out to different niches and stuff like that. So for sure, jack of all trades in that regard, where, like I said earlier, we'll sell anything under the sun. But when you're starting out, you don't want to bounce around from a toy distributor to a grocery. You kind of want to, put a little effort in one niche, get as much suppliers, as much products as you can out of it. And then depending on how it's going, you either double down or you can switch over to another.
Yep. And different categories on Amazon will have different nuances. I say this all the time. Like I'll sell a little bit of everything, but it's good to learn each one. Like if you're diving in, let's say you're doing arbitrage and you're selling a lot of bras from Kohl's, like there are certain nuances. There's things you look for, there's ways to pack it. There's just nuances that are different with selling bras than selling, say, I don't know, kids suntan lotion or something. Like there's different nuances, different things you're looking for on Keepa, all of that stuff. So yeah, I love that kind of focus on something, get good at it, and expand from there.
And I see someone mention Seller Board or Inventory Lab. I don't use Inventory Lab personally. It's not because I have anything against them. I don't. Inventory Lab is kind of like a mix of Seller Board and then stuff that helps you create and ship shipments to Amazon and all of that. So if you want to use Inventory Lab, go for it. It also does the same thing as far as tracking the profits. Although I don't know if they are quite as in depth with all of your expenses and stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
Sellerboard. Or although imagine they probably are.
Yeah, we've looked at both. Inventory Lab is much broader. They cover a lot of different things, especially if you're doing arbitrage. I would say probably you're going to lean towards Inventory Lab until you get really large, and then you can probably do both. Sellerboard does go more in depth, but it's just in like the data tab. Like, so if you're looking at Inventory Lab and you're looking at like all the data stuff, your profit and loss sheets, all that, Sellerboard will give you a much more robust reporting in that area, but
And
it won't
seller
really
board
cover
is just and seller board is just for profit tracking. A
yeah.
lot of people use Inventory Lab to help create shipments and
Mhm.
label and prep and all of that kind of stuff.
Yep. Slightly different tools for slightly different things, but there is some crossover. All right. Here's a good one. All right, so they're doing OARA with bigger ticket stuff. They're doing
Love
70
it.
to 80% profit. It's been incredible. With wholesale, do you sell products with high margins, like $50 profit, 70, 80 ROI, or what are sort of the margins that you're looking for with wholesale?
I have some products like that for sure, but that's not the typical replenishable product. This is more stuff that is definitely lower ROI, lower margin, but much bigger volume. So, we're talking about products that will make you a $3 profit per unit, but we're selling 1,200 of them per month, or a product that makes a $6 profit with a 13% margin, but we're selling, 150 units per month. So it's more about the volume. Of course, when you're doing product research, if you find products that make you 60, $70 and a super high margin, you're going to buy those and you're going to add them into the mix as well. One thing I will say, if you're doing RA and you're successful and you're doing it well and you want to add wholesale into the mix, by no way do you walk away your business or your OA business, or shut it down and quit doing what you're doing. You continue to do that and add a little bit of wholesale into the mix. But it's just different when you do, for example, 10 million a year at a 15% net margin. It's not a 60, 70% net margin, but it's 1.5 million cash clean at the end of the year, as opposed to, we sell 60, 70% margin, but our sales for the year are 250K with a $100,000 profit,
Yep. All right, this person was asking wholesale and RA and OA. I'll say,
Yes.
yeah, you can do all of them. And it sort of depends on your budget. So, like, if you're starting with a really tiny budget, I'll say lean towards the arbitrage side of things. Learn the ropes, make smaller mistakes that are lower risk, where you don't have to buy a whole case of like 24 or 36 units or whatever. You can just buy one or two, test different things out. So, build your capital up with some arbitrage. And then later on, you can move into wholesale. And that's what a lot of people do. They'll start in arbitrage and then eventually move on into buying in bulk and getting wholesale stuff.
Agreed. And
Uh,
here's the thing: when you try all three and you find one that you really enjoy and works the most for you, double down on that one.
yep.
I do wholesale, but if you're doing and some of the biggest sellers I know are, do OA and RA. And, there's a couple of OA, RA sales that do substantially more business than me. So whatever you're doing that works for you and that you feel you're good at, my advice is don't get the Wholesale Academy. Double down on that. It's saying
100% agree.
that there's people watching this video who are more meant to do private label. There's people who are watching this that are more meant to do OA, and more power to you. But the point is, find out what you really love, what you're good at, and double down on that.
There, especially on Amazon, there's a million ways to make $1 million with
Yep,
Amazon.
for
Like, it's
sure.
not only wholesale, it's not only RA, it's not only OA, it's not only private, it's not only whatever. I mean, you can make $1 million doing so many. You can make $1 million doing Kindle publishing. Like, there's so many
Yeah,
different ways to do it.
for sure.
Um, all right. Ooh, I like this one. So You've got a wholesale business. What are the odds that that becomes a sellable business entity down the road?
Not super good odds, only
Okay.
because there's not. So if your business is very mature and you build out a lot of SOPs and you have some exclusive relationships and stuff like that, it gives the business a little bit more value and you can potentially sell it. The market for buying businesses are typically more towards the private label side of things. However, one of the things that I could do, and I'm at a stage where I could probably sell my business if we have the SOPs in place, which we do, if I want to stay on as an advisor, if I want to stay on as the person who is running the show. Because when you have a wholesale business, you're running the show, you're kind of the brains behind the operation. You take you out of the equation, might not be as successful. Additionally, it's kind of an arbitrage model. It's not, there's OA, RA. Wholesale isn't wholesale by itself. Wholesale is wholesale arbitrage. So there's not too many proprietary things that you can sell. But the good thing is, if I want to quit today and ride off into the sunset and I don't have someone to buy my business, it would probably take me, I would say 3 to 4 months to sell through 85, 90% of my inventory. You probably have 10, 15% of your inventory that is slow selling stuff. So it might take, 4, 5, 6, 8 months to sell through the rest of it. But if I want to get liquid, 90 to 120 days, we sell out. We have millions and millions of dollars in capital that we accumulated from a small nest egg, grew it into a whole big thing, take that cash off the table, walk away. I can go do whatever the heck I want.
Yep. Yeah, I love diving into this, like the whole like financial independence, retire early. It's my jam. I talk about it all the time with my friends and stuff like that. But I'm gonna do some real quick math for you guys. I don't know Larry's personal numbers, but let's take a couple educated guesstimates here. So Larry, you said you're doing 15 million a year.
Roughly, yes.
Okay. And he's been at this for quite a while. You've been doing this for like 10 years. Now, obviously, you're not doing 15 million for all 10 years, but you've been a very large seller for a very long time. So let's say he's working on 10% net profits. That's 1.5 million that is going into his bank account every single year. The average person
Correct.
only needs to live on about, I don't know, 100 grand a year, let's say. Like, that's a fantastic quality of life. If you can make 100 grand per year, you can pretty much live the rest of your life on that. It's pretty easy to passively generate. Like, if you just put a 1.5 million or let's say 2 years, 3 million into some index funds, that's reasonable to generate 80 to 100,000 a year. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sellable business model because it's so lucrative so quickly. You just make all the money that you need, and then
But that's just the profit portion. So that when you're
yeah,
done, so like I can make $1 million this year, take it off the table. But then when I want to just quit the business, I'm going to sell off all of my
that's
inventory.
right. Your cost of goods is
Cost
then
of goods, right? So we
gone.
have, there might be $1 or $2 million in
I
profit for
hadn't
the
even thought of
year,
that.
but there's 8+ figures in inventory. Now we're not going to take it off of the table right now because we want to keep things going. So, most of the stuff gets reinvested and we buy more inventory. But if I'm not buying inventory tomorrow and I'm just selling everything and taking my money off the table, then there's a tremendous nest egg that far outweighs the profit. And even that profit, we're talking about $1 million profit, $2 million profit, whatever it is. It's not like we're pulling out that 2 million out from the business. We're leaving it in the business and we're buying more and more stuff. And every year the business is growing and we're making more and more money. So even if there's a profit on the books for $1 million a year, that's in the business. It's growing. We're buying more stuff. And at the end of the day, when I'm ready to retire or move on or whatever, the goal is to sell 20, $30 million worth of inventory, walk away and, ride off into the sunset, as they say.
Yep, love it. I missed my spot again. It's such a pain doing that. But basically, the next one. Let me see if I can find it again.
And there's a good one. I'll just say that
Oh yeah,
someone's
go ahead.
asking, at what point did you start paying yourself? And this is going to be different
Ooh, uh-huh.
for everyone, and this is going to depend on your personal situation. So obviously, if you need money and you need to pay the bills and you need to eat, then you have to take a little bit out of the business. That's fine. My general advice is keep reinvesting everything as possible for as long as possible. When you need it, take it. But when I started the business with my friend and he put in that investment of 50K or whatever it was, we did not pay ourselves or take even $1 out of the business probably until 8 months down the road.
Yep. I think our business, I did 18 months before I paid myself,
Yeah.
roughly. But yeah. All right. Is the Wholesale Academy for beginners or people who've been selling a while? And I know I've even had people like, hey, I already have some wholesale accounts. Like, I don't know if I'm really going to learn anything. So what would you say, Larry?
So I would say it's both. It's beginner friendly, where if you are a beginner, this is going to tell you everything you need to know as a beginner. And that being said, once you get through that beginner stuff, there is also a lot of high end, higher level stuff in the course. I mean, there's people in the course who have joined the course and who have gotten value and who participate in the course, who are bigger sellers and more successful than me, make more money than me, have bigger businesses than me. I would think the biggest seller that we have in the course is someone from France that has a $50 million a year business. There's a lot of examples like that, and they still tell me that they learned something from the course. And that's part of the mindset of being successful. I learn a lot from a lot of different sellers. I learn things from sellers who make less money than me. You might know about a software. You might know about something that I don't know about. There's a tremendous amount of stuff I don't know, guys. But that being said, the course is beginner friendly and it's also 7 and 8 figure friendly, and you're definitely going to get value from it. But aside from the course, the real big ticket item is support down the road while you grow and direct access to me.
Yep. I love it. Yeah, and people were talking too. There was a comment earlier about like they've taken a lot of my courses, Nate's courses. Like, is this gonna really add anything? And yeah, like when I build a course, first thing I do is, okay, what's out there? Can I do it better? Should I do it better? And I was like, okay, well, wholesale. People are interested in that. I do some wholesale. Can I do it? No, I can't possibly do this better than Larry. Let me just reach out to Larry and get his info. So I'll show you everything you need to know about arbitrage. I have not touched at all on wholesale because it's just such a different beast. There's so many other skills needed. I'll just leave it to Larry and let him sort of show you everything you need there. But yeah, plus I mean people were and they're like, oh, and what else do you get? Like there's a ridiculous amount of like freebies and add-ons and things like that you guys are getting with this link. I mean, like 3 free months of Aura, a couple months free of Venn Drive. There's discounts on Keepa, tactical arbitrage, like all the stuff
Jungle
that
Scout,
Jungle Scout.
all the tactical arbitrage, all the list scanning softwares,
Hmm.
literally everything that you need, I included for you guys for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that we're already. I mean, I already use pretty much every tool you have a discount for. So it's like, oh well, I could just get an extra 10, 20, 30% off of everything I'm already using. Like, of
That's right.
course, of course, I'd sign up. All right. Ooh, here's an interesting one. If we have time, I don't want to go like super deep into it because this could get a little complicated. Someone was talking about exclusivity with a supplier. Does that happen often? Are you able to do that with distributors, where like you're
Uh,
the only person that they'll sell to?
It's rare. It does happen. I like that they included over time with their question. That definitely, when you work with a supplier and you build that relationship over time, that definitely helps. It's definitely one of the things that I teach and we touch on in the course. These relationships, though, when you get complete exclusivity, are few and far between. I do think you need to be more of a mature seller in a sense where you can actually provide value to a brand owner in exchange for making you an exclusive seller. We have multiple exclusives in our business. And like you said, all of these things happen over time, building a relationship over time. And as you are a seller over time and you get more experience and you learn the business more and you go from a rookie to a veteran, your odds of getting these exclusive deals over time increase as well.
I love it. All right, we'll probably go. I'm thinking maybe another like 15, 20 minutes of questions, and then we'll do
Works
some
for me.
giveaways if you're good with that.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Ooh, this is a good one. I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering this. How do you do a test buy? Like you said, you're getting like 24, 36 units, whatever. If the minimum opening order quantity is typically 120 to 350.
So I don't see really suppliers that have a unit number quantity. It's some suppliers have, $500 or 2,000 or $2,500 for a minimum. I don't think I've ever even seen a supplier that has like a number of units minimum. It's always a dollar amount. But if I'm opening an account with someone and they have a $2,500 minimum, typically we would buy, many different SKUs. So we wouldn't be doing a test buy of just one item. It would be a test buy of item 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And that would typically be enough to cover the minimum. And if I went through a list and they had only one product for me to buy, for example, from the whole catalog, and they had a minimum order quantity of $2,500, and that one item didn't get me to that $2,500 level, I would do a little bit more of a deep dive to see if I want to buy $2,500 of this item. And if the answer to that is no, then I would just probably move on and go on to the next supplier. Although one of the things that I have done, and it was kind of clever before, so I actually had that kind of situation and I didn't want to, I don't remember whether I couldn't meet the minimum from the supplier or whatever it was, but what I remember we did was we went onto Amazon and we bought 12 units from Amazon at a retail price that we were selling on and that we were going to take a loss on, but it basically proved the theory for us, whether the item was good or not, whether the item was going to sell through. And we had that data. We took, a $10 loss or whatever it is on those 12 units that we bought from Amazon. But now we know that it works. We know that it sells. We got the data. Now I'm comfortable buying 120 units, 350 units, whatever it is. So that's one of the things that we did.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is another fantastic question. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. So this person went really deep into like 2 or 3 products really early on in their Amazon career. And the items tanked. At this point, it's like below their break-even cost. They're not really sure what to do. In situations like these, do you liquidate them? Do you remove the products? Do you keep them in there and just keep paying storage and hope that they'll sell? How do you solve this? And while you, I'll give you just a second to think. I had an experience very similar to this early on. This was one of my biggest mistakes. I know we asked Larry his biggest mistake early on. One of my biggest mistakes was I went into a wholesale order and I spent about 80% of my budget on one single product. And then the day that my products arrived at the warehouse was the same day that the brand all of a sudden decided, hey, why are we selling to middlemen? Let's just sell straight to Amazon. So the brand jumped on the listing and the listing went from $70 to $29.97 overnight, instantly. Nothing I could have done about it. I couldn't foresee it. There was nothing there.
So those types of situations, unfortunately, happens using the example that this person asked. So you're sitting on 600 cost of goods. You're below your break even. What do you do? At this point, you don't just want to sit on that 600 tied up for the next 6 to 12 months because you're just going to pay storage fees and you're not using that $600 for better products that you can be buying. But at a certain point, you kind of just have to cut your losses. And I understand you spent $600 on that, but you might just have to be willing to take $100 or $200 loss. At least you're taking your $400 back. Now you can go redeploy that $400 and buy something else, because the alternative is you're out 600. Now going forward, once you understand how to do product research a little better, and keepa is super important. And, one of the things that we look at when we analyze products is not only what is the product selling for today, but one of the things that I always look at, what is my worst case scenario? Over the last year, where has this product been on the low end? Like what's my, I know it's profitable right now, but worst case scenario, this product is over here, but worst case scenario, in December, it was down here for 4 months. And that's my worst case scenario. So if I buy it and I send it in and I have to sell it at the worst case scenario, am I selling it for a break even, or am I selling it for a big loss? And if it's a big loss, I might think twice about buying that item. If it's worst case scenario, I have to sell at the 52-week low, but that low is a break even or it's a small loss, then it's something that I would consider. But in this particular situation, you're out $600. Unless there's something in that keeper chart that is telling you a couple of weeks or a month from now the situation may be different, I would just cut your losses and on to the next. And it's something that's common in wholesale, where for every 10 items you buy, one or two of them you're going to break even on. One or two of them you might even take a loss on. But the other six, those are going to be damn good replenishables that you're going to sell for the life of that product. But those other two, break even, not going to reorder. Two, take a small loss, not going to reorder. And you have those six. And that happens all the time. You buy 10, four don't work out, you're left with six. Add another 10 to the mix. Four don't work out, but now you have another six, so now you have 12. And it's kind of like a numbers game in that scenario.
I love it. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. All right, this is an awesome question from YouTube, because this person is a little bit more experienced, a little bit more advanced. And so I'd love to hear your take on this. So they're saying they already have like 50 distributor accounts. They even have some, it sounds like, directly with the brands as well, but they're not finding any products. They've used tactical arbitrage, they've used wholesale inspector, manual sourced it, all these tools. They're just not finding any profitable products, and it's very discouraging. What are they doing wrong, or how can they look at this differently, or come at this differently, or
So we might not have enough context or information from that. Obviously, this person writes it's very discouraging, and it is discouraging. What I would do with someone like Mike is probably hop on a Zoom call and go over all the details, because we just don't have enough information for me to give an answer of what is going on wrong or what you're doing wrong. But it could be a number of things. It could be your 50 suppliers don't have good prices. It could be you didn't ask for a discount, or you need more of a discounted price to get those products to make a little more sense. It can also be that the criteria you are looking for when you are running those lists, or when you are going through those lists manually, I don't know what that criteria is. Maybe you need to lower that criteria a little bit. Or it could just be those 50 distributors suck, and you'll have better luck with the other 50 distributors. But if Mike was in the course, we would get on a call and we would go through all the different data points that are missing from the question, and answer those to the best of my ability. But I will tell you, it's not uncommon to have 50 suppliers that suck. In all my years of business, all of the suppliers that I've ever come across, 90+% of them have sucked, all for various reasons, pricing or whatever. It's just common. But yeah, I would, with someone like Mike, I would have to sit down and go through everything and figure out what needs to be fixed in order to get him to a more successful path.
Yep. And we hear this all the time too from like arbitrage sellers, like, oh, I was in Walmart all day, I couldn't find anything profitable, I scanned every item. Like, well, not every item is profitable. Sometimes things money's not there. Go find other products. Sometimes that's the answer. It's just look in another aisle, look in another distributor. All right, Larry, this person wants to know, how many ASINs are you adding on a weekly basis?
And then how many of those on average go on multiple listings? So I don't know exactly how many new ASINs we're adding to the catalog weekly. I personally don't track that. My partners might, but I would say that number fluctuates. We might have weeks where we're adding more. We might have weeks where we're adding less. But just the name of the game is just to keep adding. If you're not constantly growing your business, it's shrinking. There kind of is no standing still on Amazon, or no not doing anything. You're either growing or you're shrinking. There is no middle ground there when doing arbitrage or wholesale. As far as how many of those go on multiple listings, mean we buy a product and it goes to one listing and then another listing, I don't have an actual quantifiable number. I know it's not a large percentage, but for sure there are multiple products that we add all the time that will sell the underlying product. And then maybe there is either a second or a third listing for it, or a bundle or a multi-pack for that item. It is definitely some percentage, not a high percentage. I don't have that number for you exactly, but it's more of a focus on let's just add new stuff as much as we can, and not so much really track how many new ASINs are coming in all the time.
Love it. All right. I've seen this or a similar question asked a lot. How do you get around potential suppliers not delivering to residential addresses? And this is difficult. I know a lot of people are like, I don't have a warehouse. How do I do wholesale if I don't have a warehouse?
So there are certain suppliers that will send to a residential address, and of course, a lot of suppliers won't. There really is no workaround or no like secret words that you can relate to those suppliers to get them to change their mind. But in the beginning, especially when, and I don't recommend anyone starts out and gets a warehouse before they have a successful business. You don't want to put the cart before the horse. But in the beginning, it makes a lot of sense to use a third-party prep center. I speak about this in the course. Prep centers don't have a standard $3,000-$4,000 a month rent. You're kind of paying as you go. If they prep 100 units for you, you pay for those 100 units. If they prep 10, you pay for 10. If they prep 10,000, you pay for 10,000. But in the beginning, when you're starting out, you can use a prep center kind of as your own warehouse. So you will tell suppliers, I have a 30,000 square foot warehouse and here's the address, and you're using the prep center and playing that off as it is your own warehouse, and you use that to your advantage. And then that kind of just eliminates that issue right from the start. And then if they ever go and Google that address, your shipping address, your prep center address, they're going to see a big warehouse, 20, 30, 50,000 square foot warehouse. And you're just going to pass that off as your warehouse. My name is Nate Jackson. Here is my company name. My warehouse is 123 Main Street. There you go. No problem.
Love it. All right. Just a couple more questions and then we'll get to some giveaway stuff. Do you have a minimum ROI that you accept? I know everybody has a different answer to this.
So there's exceptions to every rule. We try to stay above 10%. We try to stay actually above 20%. I was talking about a margin, which is a little different than an ROI. So we try to stay above 20% and look for at least a $2 net profit on an item. Of course, there is exceptions to every rule. One of those exceptions is volume and sales velocity. So if you have an item that is easy to prep, moves a ton of units, but is only making 10%, if you have the capital to buy it, we're going to buy it. You know what I mean? What I will say though is when you're starting out and funds are more limited, you want to be a little bit more selective. You want to look for things that have a higher margin, that make a little bit more money, net profit wise. But once finances free up a little bit and you have more capital to spend than if you have, let's say, unlimited capital, then it doesn't matter, because if you have truly unlimited capital, you can buy things that make 25% net profit. You can buy things that make 5% net profit. If your capital is unlimited and money is abundant and you can buy everything, then you're just going to buy everything. But in the beginning, like one of the things that I explain is, let's say you have a lot of products to buy, which is a very good problem to have, obviously, but you only have 10 grand. The way I like to do it is you're going to make a list of all the potential products that you have to buy, and you can do this in Excel, and you're going to make a column, and the column's going to have the ROI and this and that. But most importantly, you're going to see how much you make per month estimated. You sell 300 units of this per month at a $3 profit. That's a $900 profit per month. And you're going to take that list and you're going to sort it, not based on ROI or based on margins, but based on how much actual money, profit net, you're going to make in the next 30 days. And you're going to sort that from greatest to lowest. And you're going to buy the product at the very top first, second, third, fourth, fifth, until you're out of capital. And that's kind of like a little hack that I've worked out to make the most of your money when you don't have when capital isn't abundant and you're working with a limited budget. You want to buy the stuff that's actually going to make you the most money over the next 30 days in order to make your spin bigger. I would say though, the generic answer to that, or the standard answer to that, is 20% minimum ROI, and of course exceptions to every rule.
Love it. All right. This made me chuckle. So your storefront is called PharmaPacks, right?
I wish it were, but no, that's not the case.
If anyone's trying to storefront stock Larry, it's PharmaPacks, guys. Don't let him fool you. That's funny. All right. I'm seeing more questions about. I don't know why people are talking about China. You're not. That's private label, folks. That's not what we're doing. This is wholesale. Let's see. Doing a famous close.
And I'm reading some of these too as they come in.
Yeah, I'm like way back in the past. Ooh, here's Mike. Man, Mike is hitting us with the good questions tonight. How many accounts do you have? Like how many different wholesale accounts do you have open at any one time?
I would say actually opened accounts definitely have more than 1,000 accounts open, but I would say it's like probably 20% of those that were actively buying with a lot. You know, there's probably, Mike,
Mm,
as you know, there's probably a ton of accounts that you end up opening just to get that price list or just to get access to the products that don't really end up going anywhere. So for sure, we have over 1,000 open accounts. And how long do you source an account? And what I think he means by that is how long do you decide to go after an account before not wasting any more time on it? We'll usually do like 1 or 2 attempts, and depending on where the conversation goes, we just put that on the back burner. And we have a system like where we make a note, and you can do this inside of Vendrive as well, where it's not working out. Do we want to completely remove them from the list, or do we want to go back to them in 6 months and follow up? And then we'll take some notes or something like that pertaining to that specific lead, that when we call them back 6 months from now, maybe they'll remember us, or something like that. But usually it's like 2 or 3 attempts until we completely forget about them, unless we have a reason that we want to follow back up with them in the future.
I like it. All right, and
So
I've seen.
someone
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
also asking, please talk more about the course. Are you going to provide a list of wholesalers? If not, why? And if yes, please explain. So I am not going to provide a list of wholesalers, and a couple of reasons for that is, number one, if I gave you a list of wholesalers and I gave that same list of wholesalers to everyone in the course, those wholesalers would be oversaturated and they would suck. Number two is, I am not going to fish for you. I am going to do something better, and I am going to teach you how to fish yourself. The whole point of this, and one of the points of taking the training, is after you've taken the module in the course that explains all there is to know about finding and vetting and contacting wholesale suppliers, you are not going to need anyone ever to give you a wholesale name, a supplier again. You're going to be able to completely do that on your own.
Love it. All right, and I've seen a similar question to this pop up a couple times. Do you run into IP complaints a lot with wholesale? It would suck to spend 3K on products and then get hit with an IP complaint. What do you do?
100%. So IP complaints are part of the business. We deal with them all the time. So much so that I just partnered with a company that fights IP complaints to literally come into our account and do this as a full-time employee of our company. They're working on it 40 hours a week, just fighting IP complaints. That being said, they're part of the business. I know when guys get a IP complaint in OA, RA, kind of hard to combat it. But with wholesale, because you're buying directly only from brands or authorized suppliers, our success rate with dealing with these IP complaints is over 90%. And they're just part of the business. They're commonplace. They're not going away. You just have to have a system in place to fight these complaints. And when 99.9% of the time, you're going to have a invoice from a legit distributor, and that's going to take care of that complaint. Buying 3K worth of a SKU and then getting an IP complaint and losing that SKU sucks. And it does happen to us all the time as well. One of the most recent examples, we used to sell this beauty product called Nioxin, and it was something that we were selling for years and years and years, and not even so much of an IP complaint. But one day the brand just kind of went gated. All sellers completely disappeared. Only Amazon is selling it on the listing. Nothing we can do. we have over $50,000 worth of this product. But again, that's on our level. But the point that I'm making is, yes, it sucks. There definitely is going to be times where you buy a product and might not be the test order, might be, you know, the fourth or fifth or sixth time around when you're buying 3, 4, 5K of it, and you're just going to get clipped and you're going to be stuck with that product and you have to remove it, or you have to liquidate it, or you have to sell it on eBay or whatever. But the point is, if that 3K is not your whole nest egg, but it's one of only 20 different SKUs, and that one SKU gets clipped, but the other 18, 19 didn't, then you're okay. And then everything balances out. If you have 20 SKUs and God forbid all 20 of them get clipped, which is very unlikely, you're in a different scenario. Or if you have only one product and it gets clipped, different scenario. But if you have 3K of 20 different products and one of them gets clipped, that's just par for the course. You take the hit, you move on, throw another 20 into the mix, and the same thing is going to happen.
All right, this person really a humorous answer. So they're asking, hey, you say this is for beginners and advanced sellers, but beginners are always gated in everything. So how can a beginner get into this business? So here's the beauty of it. When Amazon says, hey, you're gated, when you click the button that says ungate, they say, oh, okay, please send us an invoice with at least 10 units. That's exactly what you are doing with wholesale. If you can buy it wholesale, you can pretty much get ungated. There's a couple exceptions, but if there's the button that says apply to be ungated, you can get ungated with your wholesale invoice. And
especially with wholesale. And you know, everybody before they become an expert, they're a beginner. And what people might not realize is that when you get, you know, say 6 months worth of selling experience under your belt, selling stuff that's ungated, selling generic stuff, maybe in the beginning, selling stuff that's not as profitable, but roughly around the 6-month mark, when you have that experience and those sales under your belt, something interesting is going to start happening. You're going to start applying for these brands and categories. They don't even ask you for an invoice. You get automatically ungated. You get auto ungated. You get auto approval. That only happens when you build up a little bit of a successful selling history, but every account has to start from the same place. And if God forbid something happened to my businesses where I had to restart everything from scratch, I would open a brand new account. It would have no restock limit. It would be completely gated in everything, same as everyone else. And I would just deal with the hardships of being a new seller and building that account up for the first 6 months until you get to the point where you're getting ungated on everything and, you know, get right back to where we need to be.
Yep. All right, and this person was talking about the course. They're feeling some sticker shock, and they want to feel comfortable with the expected ROI. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you can't really give an expected ROI on education. Like we're showing you the path. We're showing you how to fish. We can't give you a fish. So if you're spending a couple grand on education, it's like, well, how many fish am I going to catch? I don't know. Are you going to go fishing after we teach you how to fish?
So here's the commitment that I can.
Money.
So here's the commitment that I can make too. I wish I was like one of these Kevin David guys that can say, hey, you spend $2,000 on the course, you're going to make 20 grand. I can't guarantee you how much money you're going to make because I don't know what you're going to do with that information. So you might 2 years from now have $1 million business, or you might in 6 months say, you know, this wasn't the right move for me and it didn't work out. So there's no ROI. But if what you're looking to buy with your investment is to learn everything that there is to learn about the wholesale business model, to have all the information necessary to be able to build a successful business. On top of that, more importantly than just the information, which you're going to get, have support along the way. If that's what you are buying with your $2,000, then you are going to get a very, very high return on it, and you're going to be very satisfied. If you're looking for a specific dollar amount, I can't give that amount to you. I wouldn't give that amount to you, and you know, it just wouldn't. It would be very salesy and gimmicky, and it just wouldn't be honest. But I will tell you, there are, you know, the people who joined the academy this week from Hustle Buddies. Straight up, some of them are going to build $1 million businesses. Some of them are going to build 6-figure businesses. Some of them are going to fail and they're not going to be successful on Amazon for a million different reasons. None of those are going to be that I overpromised and underdelivered, or that I guaranteed them that they would make X, Y, and Z. What I'm guaranteeing is to give you support to the best of my ability and the absolute best Amazon wholesale educational content out there. That's what I'm providing. If you look at it that way, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for the information to get started and to have decided this is what you want to do, best investment you can make. If you're looking for an actual turnover, I want to spend 2 to make 4. Do I think you'll get that ROI? Yes. Can I guarantee it? No, because a lot of it is going to ultimately fall on your shoulders.
Yep. And to put things in perspective, I was a teacher, so I spent $100,000 on education to get a piece of paper that told people you can go and teach, and I got paid $30,000 or $40,000 a year to be a teacher. Okay, this is 2 grand. Like, that's less than one single class that I took in college, and you're basically getting an entire degree in Amazon.
And
So
don't
it's like,
forget, I think there's also a lot of people who might not want to do wholesale right now. Maybe that's something they want to do in the future. But just because they're getting all of your courses, which I think are $600 or $700 alone, and the Wholesale Academy isn't a live training in a sense where you have to do it right now, or it expires, because you're getting lifetime access to it. So people are doing it just to get this discounted price. They're getting all of your courses for free, all of the other bonuses for free, and then maybe in 6 months, when they're ready, they pick up the course and they start from there.
Yep. All right. So we have been on here 1 hour and 31 minutes. People have been real patient. I told them they had to wait till the end for giveaway stuff. I think people have been super patient. So we're going to be doing some pretty cool giveaways here. So Larry said he'd be willing to throw in 2 free entries to his class, 2 people.
Scholarships. We're going to do it. We're going to call them scholarships.
I love it. All right, so you get all your student loans paid off by Larry. No, you get some scholarships here. So it's going to go to 2 people. I created a form, so I just posted the form in Facebook, and then again over here on YouTube. Basically, what I need you guys to do is go to that form, enter your name, press enter. I'm going to give this 2 or 3 minutes. We'll kind of maybe do another question or 2 in the meantime. And then we're going to do a random name picker and choose 2 names from that. And then I'm giving away 2 Rolo printers to people from our thing yesterday. So I'll look at that, and that one's a little bit more complicated, so I have to actually go to the post, and I'll just pick a random name from there. So, all right, let's try to get 1 or 2.
So wait, so I see a question. Someone said, why do you have over 1,000 accounts? So I don't have 1,000 selling accounts. Someone asked how many suppliers we have. And that's where I said over the years, we've definitely opened more than 1,000 supplier accounts. It's definitely not 1,000 selling accounts.
Yes, that would be insane.
Although I do have multiple selling accounts, and for a good reason, and that is a little bit of a gray area. And I do speak about it openly in the course, and it is one of the things that I teach, but 1,000 is nuts.
Yeah, that would be insane. So awesome. All right, so while that's coming in, just a reminder, you guys, the doors are closing for this Wholesale Academy midnight tonight. Larry usually only opens this once, sometimes twice per year, so I don't expect
and it's not a sales gimmick. For anyone who is on this chat who follows me on my social media, on Watch Me Amazon, if you've followed me on IG, YouTube, whatever it is, go look at my posts over the last week or my stories. I'm not talking about this enrollment period on any of my other channels. This is just exclusive for Hustle Buddies. The last time the course was open, period, was we had a 2-day enrollment on New Year's Eve with Nate. Also not spoken about on my social media. I don't promote the course a lot. I don't run ads. I genuinely do it because I like it. I also like the money that I make from it, but I'm not starving for it. I don't run a ton of ads. I don't promote it all the time. I open it once or twice a year. We'll probably do it again with Nate for New Year's Eve this time around. And again, if it's not the right time for you, things have to kind of be aligned. If you don't make it in this round, that's fine. You'll make it in next round. Hopefully, if inflation doesn't get too crazy and we won't have to raise the price too dramatically. But yeah, you're getting $600 worth of courses for free from Nate. He threw in a bunch of other bonuses. I threw in a bunch of other bonuses. And if you guys are serious about building a wholesale business in 2022 and beyond, this is the absolute best move as far as getting the access and support and education that you guys need.
And what's super cool too is like because this is a limited launch and it's just happening in Hustle Buddies, everyone who's getting in now, because Larry, I mean, you're in the community. You have your own community for the wholesale sellers that you're in all the time. You're doing these live videos all the time. So everyone sort of comes in at the same time. It's almost like a little cohort. It's almost like you're the freshman class, and everyone comes together and everyone's learning sort of the same stuff at the same time, similar questions. They can bounce ideas off each other, and everyone can sort of push and like hoorah each other as everyone's growing. So awesome. Okay, let me see if my random name picker thing worked. All right, let me refresh this page. Awesome. We've got a couple names and a couple random words.
How's it going to work? You're going to show the screen so people see it?
Yeah,
Screen?
let
All
me I gotta export this. You guys have about 5 seconds before I export this file. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm exporting the CSV. We'll test this out. We'll see if it works. So I'm exporting a little CSV file here, and then I gotta import it into my random name picker. And then I will share my screen so everyone can see what I'm doing. All right.
How many names do we got on the form?
We've got looked like about 40 names.
Okay, so the odds are pretty high.
Odds are pretty decent for you guys. And I might do this a second time as well because we're picking 2 names. So I'll do this, and then maybe I'll refresh it again, get a new batch of names.
So someone just wrote, and this is Nate and I had this discussion before, and someone just wrote a comment, not fair for the people who just joined. And we literally had this discussion earlier today and before we got on this live. If you purchase the course and you win, or your name gets picked, we are going to give you a full refund for the $2,000 that you just paid because we are not scumbags. So if you bought the course already, please join. That has happened to me before in the past where someone bought the course and they won the free giveaway. So 100% you'll get those funds back, and we still welcome you with open arms.
All right. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen here. So let's do this first one. All right, so I'll share this. All right, we're looking at us here. I went to my random name picker. So I input all the names here. It shows a date, but I mean, we know who's here. All right. We are going to filter duplicates just in case someone was a turd and put their name multiple times. All right, we are going to pick a random name. Let's see who it is. Oh, that doesn't work at all. Let's try this again. Let's see if we get a name. That's annoying that it includes the date there. Oh, come on. I'm waiting until I get an actual name. I couldn't test this ahead of time, so it didn't work.
Bam,
all right.
There we go.
Pierce Motorsports.
Congratulations, Pierce.
All right, Pierce.
Our first winner. So Nate, why don't you like write these down or save them somewhere so we know?
Yeah. All right. Let me copy this one. All right, and go back here. Stop sharing. Let me post this in. Well, I don't want to post it there. I will shoot you a message real fast, Larry, so that we can remember this person. All right. So whoever Pierce Motorsports. You
and a man after my own heart with motorsports. All right, Pierce. We're going to see you in there.
I like it. All right, and now I'm going to get that form a second time.
People keep talking about a party that we're missing out on. Where's the party at, and how do we?
It's the form is called party invite. It's the party. All right, so I'm going back to the form. I'm gonna re-download it, get all the fresh names in here, and we will spin it until replace that file.
And let me just also add, so one of the things that we didn't touch on, and it doesn't get touched on enough, when you buy the course, there is a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you genuinely watch the content and do the work and it's not for you or it's not working out and I can't provide the value to help you to where you see the light at the end of the tunnel, no problem, no questions asked. You know, we're not here again to scam anyone out of their hard-earned loot. We want to make money in the process while at the same time helping you succeed. So just keep in mind there is that 14-day money back guarantee. That doesn't mean buy the course, watch all the content, and then ask for a refund, because then you won't get it. But if you do all the stipulations and for whatever reason it's genuinely not working out, Nate and I are both reasonable guys, not the scumbag guru variety. So we will do the right thing by you.
All right. So I uploaded the second one, it's party invite. I'm going to share my screen and then I will roll it until we get a name or an email or something. Sorry about the dates.
Roll the dice. Here we go.
All right. So we got all the people in there.
Okay.
And pick another name.
All right, 833. 833.
Hey,
834.
look at that.
Winner.
Pick another name. Oh, come on. Somebody didn't write their name. What are these comments? You just got to write your name.
It's only just building up the drama, you know what I mean?
I tried to like make the form so simple where it's like just write your name, but it's still pulling all this extra. Oh, that's so obnoxious.
Jeremy.
Oh,
Which
that
Jeremy?
is so.
Which Jeremy? Do you have it? Do you have it on the list?
Huh. Let me. Here.
Someone's saying the form didn't work right.
Here, let me pause this just in case I'm like showing a bunch of people's emails and stuff. Let me see if I see a Jeremy. I see a Jeremy. Let me check my form. I just want to confirm that I can actually pull info.
So it said the Facebook link asked several questions and the YouTube link only asked your name.
Oh,
Jeremy
did it really?
So Jeremy Kincaid is saying it was him, but how do we verify? Is there another Jeremy in this group?
Jeremy.
People are saying the YouTube link was different. I can be Jeremy. We got a lot of Jeremys all of a sudden.
We do have a lot of Jeremys. I actually have. There's no way. There's no like email. There's nothing in the form either. It just shows me Jeremy on my end.
But you see, these questions pop up as Facebook users, so you'll see if there's an actual user with the name Jeremy. Is there any other Jeremy watching this? Would you know?
I don't see on my end. I'd have to like look in Facebook. Here's what I'll do. Because something wasn't working on the Facebook link apparently.
The Facebook link was asking picnic questions. Oh, Jeremy, you won the free picnic, my man.
Lorm Ips. Oh shoot! Oh no!
All right, Jeremy won all expense picnic, valued at $29.95.
Hang on a second, guys. Let me find my correct one, because I was wondering. I was like, there's only like 50 people in here. That doesn't make sense. Let me figure out a way how to make this right real fast.
So someone is saying walls on ecom. I've been trying to join the private group, but it keeps getting declined. That might be because you are not entering an email you have to enter the email that you paid for the course for, so that the person who is accepting people into my private group knows you are someone who belongs there and not someone who is just trying to sneak on in.
All right. Here's what I'll do. Since I messed up, Larry, I'll sponsor a third person. So whatever the third person was going to pay you,
let's do it.
I'll pay you. So we'll do a third person. I posted the link just like 5 times here in the Facebook chat, and I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to enter your stuff again. Okay, maybe we can take one more wholesale question while we give those people a chance.
But I don't think we should leave Jeremy hanging, should we?
No, Jeremy, you're the Jeremy Kincaid, I believe. The Jeremy from this, shoot me a PM, and we'll try to figure out how to verify that it was you, if there's any way to do that. So if you're pretty sure that you're the Jeremy, shoot both myself and Larry a message on Facebook, and we'll get you taken care of. If we can figure out who you are and verify everything. All right. And for the people who are entering your stuff, give me a first and a last name, por favor. Yeah.
Too many Jeremys here. All right, so we have two. We have Jeremy and we have Pierce Motorsports, I believe it was.
Yep. There we go. All right. 170 responses. This is more what I was expecting.
Okay.
All right. We'll give it 10 more seconds, and then I'll export this.
All right. People
file.
are asking where are they doing? Where's the file?
Where's the file?
And are people on the YouTube still in?
Boom. And the YouTube, it should be. I'll do it once more for YouTube. All right, there's one for YouTube. Okay, I'll give you about 10 seconds to enter your name there. And then let me go over here.
Now, what if these people enter their name on YouTube and on Facebook, and now they have double entry?
So it's connected to their email. I mean, I guess
Got
there's
it.
ways to be a butthole about it, but you really have to try pretty freaking hard to be a butthole about this. All right, let me download responses. Or I wonder if I can actually copy. Ooh, this might actually work better. Try this real fast. Let's see if this functions better, because then I can take out all those dates and times and things, or else we're going to be sitting here all night. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Larry, do you have any? What's your favorite? Because you probably get all sorts of returns. What's your favorite return that you've ever gotten that wasn't actually an item that you sold? Because we've all had those.
We got a couple of sex toys back one time.
Are you sure those weren't yours, man? You sure you didn't
Yeah,
reverse them?
I don't know if you could actually return them, so that's a little weird.
Oh, that's true. That's
Right?
I'd be like, huh. That's strange. All right, so I've got your names in. This time it should work a little bit easier. Let me share my screen again. All right, there we go. I've got the random name picker here. We've got there's about 200 people in here now,
Nice.
and it should work a little bit better. It took out all the dates and everything. So we'll do this one more time. Pick another name. Start now. Boom.
Stacy
Mikulicek. Mikulicek. That sounds
right. That's who. Stacy, who came closer, Nate or I? All right, but
listen, you're first generation from Russia here, man. That sounds like kind of an Eastern European last name to me. Mikulicek.
Okay, so we got Stacy is winner number 3. You know what? We're feeling generous today. Let's do one more.
What?
Let's
Dang.
do one more.
All right.
We'll end the night on a good note. We'll do one more. Last chance for everyone to get in.
All right, let me copy and paste the names again. I will, for the Rolo people, I'll probably do that because this is getting pretty long because we had this little glitch. I'll do that later, and I'll just shoot you guys a message for the people who won the Rolo. All right, because there was other stipulations for the Rolo. Okay, let me punch this back into the random name picker and share my screen again. All right, we've got all these people right here to pick from. May the odds be in your favor. Pick another name.
In your favor. Let's go.
Boom.
Sean Johnson. Welcome aboard.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Let's see. Stop sharing screen. There we go. Awesome, guys. So let me, if you are one of the winners, shoot us a message and we will get you hooked up with your stuff. If you didn't win, there's still so much free stuff in here, guys. I mean, we're throwing in all my classes for free, all these tools and stuff, multiple discounts, so all sorts of I mean, just everything. I tried like anything I could throw into this. Like, okay, well, I've got this. I can help. Do you want to get ungated in something else and you're not getting a wholesaler? Like, I will personally help you get ungated in something. If you're like, man, I just can't get Nike, I can't get Adidas or whatever it is. Like, even if you're just doing arbitrage, you're like, let me sign up for this course because Nate said it'll help me. Let me help you get ungated in something. I'll personally do that myself. So sign up. The Wholesale Academy is
They got what,
closing.
3 hours.
Yep, you got, it's almost 9 now here, EST. So you got about 3 hours left, guys. Let me throw this link again over there in YouTube. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll throw it over here in Facebook a couple times as well for people.
All right, I love this comment from someone. Someone said, already bought the course, already a winner the way I look at it. Thank you, guys. That is an excellent mindset to have. And I know there are a ton of Hustle Buddy people already in the course. So just make
a ton.
Make some comments in the Facebook post or here on the chat and let us know your unbiased, unfiltered review of what you have seen so far, so other Hustle Buddies can have an idea of what to expect.
Yep, I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of comments. If you go to the Hustle Buddies page, not the group, but like the business page, the most recent post had a couple people who were talking about their experience. So awesome, guys. Well, Larry, we've kept you here almost 2 hours. I know you're a busy guy. You've got a big business to run. You got a family. You've got kids, wife, all that stuff. So I don't want to keep you the rest of the evening. But
someone is asking, can we purchase the course now and start later? Yes, you guys have lifetime access to the course. If you wanted to buy the course and for whatever reason start a year from now, that's fine. Lifetime access to the course, lifetime access to all of the future updates. There is no upsells. There is no, you buy the course and then if you want to talk to me later, that's an extra $2,000. Everything is all included. Access to me, support, the private Facebook group, all of Nate's courses, all of my discounts, 50 plus hours and counting in the course. So if you didn't win and starting a wholesale business on Amazon is something that you are looking to do, I am waiting for you guys inside the course group this week. Hope to see you there.
I love it. Awesome. All right. We'll see you out there, guys. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. You can drop them. I'll make another post after this. So if there's any more questions, me and Larry will probably be on for a little bit this evening, helping to answer questions. So post them down there and we'll see you out there. All right. Hustle on, everybody.